Allowance. So many people disagree with each other about this topic. Yes, parents work to provide for their children, but at the same time they want them to be independent. But providing for your children is their right and your duty. But when kids are getting older, they want and sometimes need more and more things than before. And that's what makes parents give their children an allowance. Some parents don't, and even the ones that give their kids an allowance don't give the same amount of money. So allowance is commonly given to teenagers and kids around that age, because they are getting older and more curious enough to go out alone and try and buy things and have a personal space, but not enough to have a good job and take care of everything they need and want. And before giving an allowance, there are things you need to consider. How much money you make, how much time you spend with your kid, and do you take care of everything your kid asks for, and is your kid careful when spending money, and the area where you are living. And that is for the following reasons. Since your kid is living with you, he needs less money. And that means an allowance should be less than an amount of money that allow him to live alone comfortably. So no matter how much money you make, giving them a big amount of money to spend that they don't need half of it is a bad idea. And of course, it really depends on how much money you are making. Spending time with your kids means you know them better. And part of that is knowing what they need. So if you spend a lot of time with your kid and know them very well, you may want to give them less than average because you know what they really need. And if you provide everything your child asks for, you may want to skip the allowance part or give him minimum. And if your kid is careful with spending money, giving him an allowance is not a bad idea, especially if he saves most of his money. And it also depends on the area where you are living, whether it is expensive and if it is safe. So giving an allowance is not that easy. It depends on you and your kid and your relationship and the area you live in. Kids need money for food, school, clothes, activities, so you need to consider their needs wisely. Not give them so much to the point they won't ever consider working and providing for themselves. And at the same time, not ignore their needs to the point they feel like you don't care about them. And as it is important to teach your kid to be independent, it is also important to teach him to be honest and kind, and letting him know you care.